Once upon a time, in a small town surrounded by dark woods, there lived an evil creature known as the Crooked Man. He was tall and thin, with long spindly fingers and a face so twisted that it looked like it had been carved out of wood by an unsteady hand. The townspeople knew better than to venture into the woods at night, for they had heard tales of the Crooked Man lurking in the shadows, waiting for his next victim to cross his path. But despite their fear, there were always those foolish enough to tempt fate, and it was on one such night that a group of teenagers decided to explore the woods. As they made their way deeper into the woods, the air grew thick with an eerie silence that seemed to suffocate them. Suddenly, they heard a rustling in the bushes and out stepped the Crooked Man. He towered over them, his twisted face contorted into a sinister grin as he reached out with his long fingers to snatch the closest teenager. The others turned to run, but they were no match for the Crooked Man's speed and agility. One by one he caught them, snuffing out their screams with a single swift motion. The town was left in a state of terror, as the Crooked Man continued his reign of terror, picking off his victims one by one. No one was safe, for he seemed to have the ability to appear out of nowhere, striking with deadly precision before vanishing back into the shadows. The townspeople were desperate for a solution, and finally, a group of brave souls decided to take matters into their own hands. Armed with torches and pitchforks, they ventured into the woods, determined to rid themselves of the evil that had taken hold of their town. As they searched the dark forest, they heard a rustling in the bushes. With trembling hands, they raised their weapons, ready to face whatever horror lay before them. And then, out stepped the Crooked Man. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as they faced off against the monster that had terrorized them for so long. And then, with a deafening roar, they charged towards him, determined to end his reign of terror once and for all. But as they closed in on the Crooked Man, he seemed to grow larger and more powerful, until he towered over them like a giant. His eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and his twisted face contorted into a demonic visage. With a single sweep of his arm, he sent the group flying in all directions, their torches and pitchforks scattered around them. And then he vanished back into the darkness, leaving the townspeople to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. The Crooked Man continued to haunt the town for many years, always lurking in the shadows, waiting for his next victim to cross his path. And though the townspeople tried everything in their power to rid themselves of his evil presence, the Crooked Man always seemed to return, more powerful and more terrifying than ever before.